Welcome to Ladies in Production podcast, where we talk about animation and VFX production through the female lens. Hi, everyone. So this week we're going to be talking about our safety nets and how we can, get support. And I say we focus on work and like our work safety net because at least for me, I've started a new job remotely, and it is basically really hard to meet anybody or find any friends or anything because it's remote and you don't have those like natural occurrences of meeting people and like getting to know people. And I feel like it's also harder to read if someone is that person that you want to talk about your work problems with. At least remote. But I'm wondering, what are your tips of finding people that you can lean on and get safeties or have a safety net with at work?
Oh, at work specifically.
Yeah.
So this isn't about like if you lose your job, what's your safety net?
Yeah, I was wondering.
Is that what it was supposed to be?
I thought it was what you were saying, Savanna. It was like making friends and
like your
finding
support team.
Yeah.
Like people in your life?
Like at work, like how do you meet the people that are like your confidants?
Like us,
people,
when we were at Blur, like all of us.
So I can start answering that just because I'm a person who has like a new job every 6 to 8 months. Because I feel like I have, and especially remotely lately, like Savanna starting a job where everyone, different from you, majority of the people are in an office interacting together and I'm the only one at home. And so it's kind of weird because like I did know some people from before who are like, we're friendly and we work together. So we kind of have a shorthand. But like I always have to be really close with the coordinator in the art department just because we're like a team. And I haven't had a coordinator that I didn't get along with, luckily, knock on wood. They've been, so far, I've just worked with really strong women that I like can relate to. And it does take maybe about like a month sometimes with a new person to feel them out to see like, can we really, talk freely with each other, or do you need to be kind of careful? And like, even I'd rather be more cautious in the beginning when meeting people. But I guess for me, a big part of my job, and like Savanna, your job too, is communication. I guess all of our jobs involve communication.
Yeah.
So I feel like this is when I use my tool that Norn thinks is like my shield, my friendliness shield or whatever. But I kind of just do that to try to befriend people right away, get on people's good side, and kind of be like the helper in a way, just so like people can start talking to me and coming to me. And then that's kind of when you figure out like who is more like-minded, who will have your back. But I kind of feel like all that has to come through just talking to everyone and having it actually be like on the phone too, not typing. I think that's like a big thing for me, at least too, is like, because we always talk about the value of a paper trail, but there's also the dangers of a paper trail. You never want to be like all of the politicians who are caught texting horrible things or emailing horrible things. So it's like, sometimes you can get a better feel on someone through talking to them with your voice than with your fingers.
Yeah.
But something else I was also thinking, because when I was thinking about this topic, like I think I had mentioned in another episode how the Lipp ladies, like this is the first time I've had like a group of friends from work who are sticking together so much. Because that's one thing that's hard about my job is we all spread apart. Like it's this one magical moment where we're all working together. And then when it's over, people are going sometimes all over the country, like for other jobs, or that's where they're from, and it's kind of harder to maintain whatever connections. But then when you get on jobs again together, it's like no time has passed and you're able to just work together knowing you trust each other. I guess that's the trust. which is hard to find. I feel like, isn't it kind of hard to read through typing? Like, don't you all
Yeah.
feel it's like something you kind of have to hear in someone's voice more so, or in
Yeah, also just their
person?
yeah, it takes a while. Like when I started my new job a year and a half ago, so we were already in person. And I don't know if I said this in a previous podcast too, but there was a person there who I thought was my rival, my competition, and um, and I was very suspicious of this person, and and he became my friend, and now he's actually the one person who's on the exact same level as I am. So he understands all the stuff that I'm going through because we're on the exact same level. And he's the opposite of me. I'm a big mouth, and he's very quiet. Like he's like you have to like drag information out of him. So I think that makes a good confidant, like somebody you have to drag information out of.
Exactly.
And he probably doesn't like, give me that much information because he knows I'm such a big mouth. But at least he's like a person that I can talk to, and he knows what I'm going through.
And he
Wait,
can
so how
be
did
there for
it
you.
switch from being rivals to being friends? Like, how did you soften up, or what changed? Because that does
That's hard. It's a difficult thing.
sounds like a romantic comedy.
Ew, that's not good. So I think we were on the same project together. We did the logo for Crunchyroll, and
Oh.
yeah, we actually worked together on that. So I saw that there wasn't really any real competition. It was just, you know, and also I think during that time I started bringing in my own clients. So because before I thought it was competition, like he was getting all the really good jobs. And I found out it wasn't because, he was a man, which I thought it was. I think it was because he was just there, like he had history with these clients or whatever. So that was the only reason he was getting these jobs. And then I started bringing my own stuff, and so I got my own, and I liked the projects I was bringing in. So it was no longer competition for who's getting what project.
So it's kind of like a change in first, like your mindset about him, but then also like getting to know him when working together. Like
Yeah,
it was like from a distance, he was a rival, but then when you actually kind of got to know him, he was a friend.
Yeah, and I have to say, I was a little prejudiced because he was a white male.
Ugh,
I thought
those males.
and I thought he was getting everything because he was tall and white and male. And but that was just my perception, and I don't know if that was really reality. To be
Well,
honest.
and it was
That's a good
also like
lesson.
you were new at a job and probably didn't have like the level of confidence that you'd have.
Yeah, a little
at
insecure.
Yeah, so maybe, yeah, that's why once you felt more comfortable and confident at work, you were able to like open up to him or see him as like a friend rather than a
you weren't
rival.
having to compete with him necessarily
Yeah.
anymore. You could stand your own.
And it's so nice to like not have that feeling of competition, and it's more just having somebody you can talk to who is at the same exact level as you are.
You know, Becca, if you don't mind me talking again before you go, but I was like, something Norn said just made me remember too. It's like working on a project with someone or kind of having a similar goal. I feel like that also is like the instant bonding with someone. Whereas like, with me and I'd say like illustrators, we're the ones who are always working remote and we like rarely ever see each other because, it's all just emails or texts or whatever. But because we end up having to like collaborate and work together, having to figure out like, oh, what reference do you need? What's this? What's that? Or, hey, I really need you to send me your PSD, like both ways when it's like a two-way street and you're working with someone. I feel like that's also the way you build this trust and friendship, like Norn was saying.
I agree. Also, you have a common enemy, which is usually the client. So
Okay, yeah.
Put your minds together on it, right?
Yeah.
Battle buddies.
I was gonna say a lot of what Ray was saying. I kind of follow the same practice where I just am super friendly to everyone to start because I'm trying to go in with an open mind. I don't want to pass any judgment on anyone. I want to be like, give everyone the benefit of the doubt. So I'm usually very happy and, you know, very outgoing and stuff. And so sometimes that doesn't always work with everyone. But
Like Norn, who thinks that, you know, there's something suspicious about you for being
I'm
so
with
bubbly and
Norn.
happy.
I'm with Norn. I get suspicious when people
Well,
are too happy.
so that's the thing is, and I've learned from my, you know, personally that not everyone's like that, and not everyone can, you know, embrace that. And so, you know, I think I've just kind of gone into a space where I kind of play more middle ground now, and then I let certain opportunities open up so I can allow people who maybe are introverts or not necessarily want to talk right away. I try to find the way they like to communicate, I guess, because everyone's a little bit different. So, yeah, I don't know.
Is it kind of like a politician where you're just nice to everybody?
I
Yeah.
am.
Yeah, I am
totally
too,
am.
I mean, yeah, I do that too.
Until there's a reason not to be, and then I try to just be, you know, not
I think
spend my
civil.
energy on it.
Civil.
Yeah.
There's something else that you guys were saying. Oh, you know, I feel like a lot of times the jobs, especially in entertainment, it really is like being in the trenches because like the expectations of turnaround, just the sometimes like the abuse of your leaders or just the strenuous hours, the exhaustion, you know, where it's kind of like they are like your war buddies. You have that shared time and fear and all of that. You know, like I feel like that's something too where sometimes you might not really realize that you're bonded with these people until the end of the project or the show.
Mm-hmm.
Have you guys felt that before? You know, where it's kind of like
Yeah.
Definitely.
not until
Yeah, you
after.
kinda have to
Especially
go
if you
through
do an all-nighter.
Yeah, if you do an all-nighter with people, I
Yeah.
feel like my closest work friends have been people that we've stayed late doing something, or we really had it was like teamwork together, and you're both, you know, putting in all this effort and energy, and you both wanted to succeed. So that's when you kind of develop those friendships, is when you start to open up, they open up, there's everything is put aside. It's like we just have to work together. And that's where I've formed a lot of those relationships. I would also say, you know, outside of work, or even just where you create a social environment, or the opportunity for work or coworkers to socialize together. So, I mean, the place that we used to work together, I felt like we had a very social environment. People were very much like 5 p.m. on Fridays, let's go and hang out together. The
Yeah.
previous places I also worked as well had a very similar culture. And in those certain circumstances, that's when I bonded with people. Like, you know,
Yeah.
you kind of just let loose a little bit, you're put work aside. That's, I think, when I bonded with all of you was through those, you
It was
know.
It was beer 30 at Blur.
Yeah, beer 30.
Beer 30, yeah.
That's basically what I'm saying, is there was maybe some alcohol involved, but I think it lets people loose a little bit and kind of puts their guard down. They're not trying to impress each other anymore. I don't know. At least for me. Maybe I'm speaking for myself, but
I love beer 30. There's no beer 30 at the company I'm at right now.
Same here.
Oh.
Same here.
I'm not sure. Yeah, my company, like I've heard. So I have this weird thing where like I'm new and everybody is been there for like 3+ years. So it's just like this
Yeah.
really weird dynamic of everybody has all this like long-term foundational knowledge of each other and of all their coworkers in the company, and it's just really hard to navigate
Be
and
the
kind
new
of
kid.
yeah,
Well,
you're the new kid, and it's just really hard. And I was actually in a meeting with some other production supervisors a few weeks ago, and they were asking like, how can we like welcome the new people in? And I honestly was just like, I don't think there's going to be a point until we meet in person that I think that any of the new people will feel super comfortable with the old guard.
Yeah.
It's
still
just
going to be a split. It's like, yeah, there's been something that's really prevented you from getting to know people. You're just heads down, kind of focused on the work.
you entered during the
person.
pandemic.
Yeah. So there's like this whole group of people at my company that have never even set foot on campus. don't know anybody at all in person. And it's weird to me because I've worked at other studio where we've worked with people who were remote, and it never really felt unnatural, if that makes sense. Like
But
it never.
those people probably didn't feel super connected to you guys. The people who are
I
off
don't
site.
know, because they seemed fine whenever I talked to them.
I have an idea, Savanna, and this is just based on, so one of my friends, she works at Riot, and they've been working remote for like a year also with I feel like I think they're probably not going to be going back into the offices soon. I can't remember exactly what she said, but some of the things that they started doing was having like scheduled social time where they do online gaming or categories or like all these weird things or scavenger hunts or something. And it's like team bonding. I'm using air quotes. It's like called team bonding, but she kind of said it actually worked for her at least, because it is like, you know, like how board games are like a nice neutralizing thing where you don't really have to talk about yourself and you're all kind of, I don't know, something familiar.
Everybody have Zoom overload though?
I do. I mean, I was going to say, like, it feels like every time I go into a meeting, it's straight to business. It's like, you know, there's this weird feeling where it's like, oh, we got to jump right in. Whereas, at least for me, and when we would go into the office, there would be some casual talk. People would leisurely come into the meeting room. And it like never really started on time. And even if I had back-to-backs, like, you know, one right after the other, at least I was getting up. There was socialization in the hallways. Like you felt like there was a moment to get to know your coworkers. And now it's like you go into a Zoom. Okay, cool. Bye. Go into another Zoom. Okay, bye. Go into another Zoom. And there's no social interaction. And so I think it's a lot of what I've seen people been doing recently is when you start up the Zoom for the first 5 minutes or even start the meeting 5 minutes late, and people can leisurely come in and start to just have those casual conversations, because like when else would you get it? You know, if a meeting's intended to just do work, you know.
You're right. I'm the worst offender, by the way. Like,
I'm too. I'm all just saying it's unfortunate.
The last Zoom meeting I remember, like last week, they're like, Norn is always all business. Like,
I am too.
Just like jokes.
That's so funny because every meeting that I'm in, it's off the rails for like the first 5 to 10 minutes of like people chit chatting.
That's really nice.
That's good.
But it's also kind of weird trying to get it back on track and also like relating to what is being said. But
that's why I feel like it makes kind of sense if you somehow can get the company to schedule social time. If you can't do that at the beginning of the meeting. I don't know how, but maybe just like on a Friday afternoon something.
We did actually do like a team screening when the stuff came out, and so it was really nice to get together. And even though it was like, you know, 10 minutes, I jumped on right before we watched it, there was a chance to just be like, oh, hey, this is your house, like, you know, just like.
How many people were on that Zoom though?
I don't know, like 15.
Oh, that's small, because
it's small, but
that's a good number.
It was a really good number, but it at least like made people feel like, okay, we can take off, you know, this uptightness being behind. At least for me, it's like you're always, if you're in front of the camera, it's official. It has to be like just work. And for once, it was nice to kind of sit with these people without feeling so rigid. Like I could sit on my couch and be like laid back. And that's usually what happens when you have these social hours or you go out to bars or whatever. It's like that chance to let a little bit loose and just, you know, not kind of get away from the grind.
I think if the number is small, because they're at my work, it's like 150 people, and like
what?
Like a Friday, like they try to do like a Friday night happy hour, and it's like the most awkward thing ever.
Oh, that's weird.
There's like no way to talk to anybody.
Yeah, nobody wants to talk to anybody, but if it's like only, let's say 10 people or 5 people, I think the smaller the number, the better.
Yeah. I mean, look at our podcast. It's like, I feel like if we were to go beyond 6, it would feel too many, you know?
Yeah. I actually had a cool, so I made a friend I've been slowly making a friend at work.
Oh, good.
Which is really funny, but it's also I also find it interesting because it is somebody who is like a PA. So I'm finding like connections with people who are like much, I mean, she's around my age, but like we're not equal like on
Right. Position.
hierarchy wise. So
Uh-huh.
it's kind of like a friend mentorship thing. But on Monday,
in which direction? Like,
She's younger.
She's younger, yeah.
She's a senior, or you're the senior.
I'm the
Savannah's
senior, yeah.
the mentor.
I'm the big boss. No, I'm not.
Yeah.
But I find it interesting because she basically forced me to go to this like mixer on Tuesday. And like I was like, I'm not going unless I can follow you around, because they have this app.
A Zoom mixer?
There's this app which
but like virtual people, right? Like
it's like you get like little cartoon characters and you're like dropped into this like virtual world that you can like walk around in and like and your camera and mic will turn on when you walk up to someone.
Oh,
So it was
my
really cool
God.
because it felt
That's
like
cool.
real life. Like you're like, I'm gonna
we
walk
should
over.
do that.
I mean, I need to see how it's set up because I'm not sure if it was like some proprietary thing someone made. But you like basically, I was following this girl around and we were literally going up to other people and like our camera and our mic would turn on and you're just like, hi, and it
That's
just
so
felt
cool.
like real life for a brief moment where you just like, I don't want to talk to these people anymore. Let's dip. So we would like go and go to a different group of people.
That's wild.
But
That's
that was like the
cool.
closest I felt to actually like making a connection with anybody was a silly little like application where you can like have your little 2D character walk up to people.
That's
It goes
perfect.
to show that you need to be in person. Like you need that human.
Yeah,
connection.
and like for me at least, like I'm an introvert, so having like an extroverted buddy who will force me to go to events and meet people is super helpful.
Yeah.
And then we connected more and like we were able to talk about like some issues that we're having at work. So that being said, I'm wondering like, when we're trying to talk about safety nets and you have your group of people at work, do you feel comfortable talking about your personal or your work problems with them or like any issues you're having? Do you have anyone like that, or are you just kind of keeping it at home? Because I know for me personally, at my last job, I had a few people that I would talk to a lot about this kind of stuff, and they would talk to me in the same. But that felt a little bit different because we were in person, and then when we transitioned to work from home, we still would keep up. And like
it's hard to build that trust.
Yeah,
like you can't build that trust virtually. Like because I was thinking about that, and I do have people that are kind of my go-to to talk about things, but the reason why I think I have that relationship is because I knew them before. Is there anyone new? Yes. Well, actually, no, not really.
That's so funny.
Savannah, go ahead. Oh,
that's it.
I was just going to say, so on the current show that I'm working on where I've been remote the whole time and the people are in the office.
Yeah.
I think like it's really tough because you don't know who's talking in the office to each other. You don't know who's close to who because you're just not there.
You don't know.
You can't see, and like you don't really necessarily know like who's worked with each other before,
or like who to tell something to because they might be buddies with this person who like knows this guy, and you're just like, well, I can't.
Or
you just bitch to this group.
Oh, no, but see, the question was, do you have people at work that you have this trust?
Right.
And so I feel like, there are two people who we really confide in each other, and I've never met them in person. I've only either seen them. I've seen them on a Zoom whenever we have our group meetings, which is like barely seeing them, and they have their masks. And one I worked on before with, but again, remotely. And then the other one we've just started on this show. And I think a lot of it has to do with talking on the phone because you're kind of more likely to let off steam, kind of be able to tonally tell how someone feels.
Reactions.
Oh my God.
What?
Norn's trimming her hair.
I'm sorry.
Wait, I didn't see that.
So good. She has like pink scissors, I think.
What? Why are you trimming your
hair?
There's a couple of strays.
That's what
I want to do with the back of my head. I feel like I have
some strays.
Mullet back of my head. But but anyways, yeah, I feel like like it's super. Savannah, like I totally know where it's also when you kind of want to find out like what's going on, like trying to find a friend to be
Or you
like
just,
your
like,
insider too a
poke.
little bit.
Like you just poke like little holes and see like if
Yeah, I
they'll
think you
like
poke-
how they gauge the reaction.
You poke little holes, and then if people are a little like, ooh, then you kind of know, okay, that's a limit. That's a limit with them. And if it's someone that you really feel like you can connect with, you keep doing a little more just to kind of be like, okay, testing the waters. But then other people are just completely open to you, and so then it gives you the opportunity to be like, okay, is this the kind of person that would talk? Is this the kind of person that's just like being open because they can actually relate to you?
Yeah.
So it's kind of, you have to read it. But I agree, the video thing, I've had like, you know, happy hours with people, and I think there is people that I've kind of become closer with during this period because of those video sessions.
Yeah.
That's it's hard otherwise.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I would be able to survive if I didn't like have like some one-on-ones with some people at work.
Yeah, you have to.
Because I mean,
oh, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I actually lately I've been scheduling like these catch-ups or lunches. Like I feel like it sucks because I'm literally on Zoom like,
Are you eating?
I am eating, so I'm on Zoom like 5-6 hours. It's a day. It's crazy.
Wow.
And so then, but then even though I'm scheduling these Zooms for lunch, it's so nice to even just like sit there with someone else. It is additional screen time, but it is sometimes just nice to sit there and talk and just vent or, you know, catch up or whatever. So it's been a lot, but you have to be like active about it.
Yeah. You can't like if you don't try in this digital world, like you'll just be alone all day and you won't have anybody reach out.
I was gonna say also like with Becca, the little pokes, like for me, the little pokes are kind of just like funny little offhanded comments when you're on the phone and just see, you know, what do they react
to see if someone laughs or
like a Zoom, or if you're in like a Zoom or a meeting with someone and you'll just like someone says something and you'll just like text them like LOL, what did they just say?
Yes. I do that a lot lately too.
My other thing is to kind of gauge people is I send gifts. I mean, you guys know how I love my gifts and my stickers, but like that's another way that kind of people can kind of open up, or you kind of get a sense of their humor, or if they're like willing to be fun.
I wish I could only speak in GIF.
Me too. GIFs and emojis. Just pictographically.
If you use Slack, oh man, I'm always all about the reactions.
Isn't there that parrot that's really popular? That's that thing with its head.
There's so many like rainbow ones that are like
dancing.
I'm okay, for those who don't see
I've
the video,
never seen Becca dance.
I can't believe I just did that.
Like one day we gotta like do some kind of.
We'll do our virtual dance party because we can't get Krystal to go to the club.
Oh my god, that would be hilarious.
Oh my god.
Savannah has the lighting.
I know, we each need to get a different light so we could be like a different color room.
I remember there was a Blur Christmas party. I don't know if you were there yet, Ray.
Probably not.
I feel like it was my last Christmas party, and Becca and Savannah were there, and I think it was in West Hollywood. And I think you, Savannah, were like, "Oh yeah, we're all going to that one gay bar."
Yeah, I went to the gay bar afterwards,
and I was like, "What?" And I thought to myself, "Why didn't I go?" Because I love that stuff. And
it was so much fun. And
did I go? I can't even remember.
I think you did.
I think I did.
Honestly, I was so drunk. I don't even remember.
I wish I
90% of that party.
I don't think I remember.
You know,
I just remember that I knocked a drink out of a guy's hand, and then he yelled at me, and then I bought him a new one. And then I bought the same thing for myself, but it was an adios motherfucker. And I was already like basically on the verge of blacking out, and I chugged it because I'm very competitive when I'm drunk.
It's called adios.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like this blue drink that like you black out if you have it.
That was such a college drink.
Yeah,
yeah. I knocked it out of his hand. He was so upset, and I was like, okay. So I went and I'm like, give me two, what this drink he had was. And then I just gave it to him. He ran off, and I just chugged it because I'm a freaking idiot, and I get so competitive when I'm drunk. And I was
Ozzy was your safety net.
Ozzy thinks it's hilarious when I'm drunk because I am a freaking clown.
So
I've never seen that, by the way.
I want to see that.
Yeah, I want to see
Oh,
that.
I just get super loud and super
That sounds
aggressive.
fun.
Well,
So I
you-
must have gone. I think I did go with you to the.
So Savannah, talking about, drinking at Christmas parties and that as a way to like bond.
you can't
I
drink
like-
too
Don't
much.
condone my behavior.
you
Like,
can't
well,
drink
that's
too
what I
much.
was gonna say. Is
Yeah.
like I'm very cautious about drinking at work things. Like even when we all work together, I don't think I ever drank
It's
more
smart.
than one beer.
It's smart.
It's smart.
It's smart, but I also feel like the culture of the workplace that we were
Yeah,
at,
it's
it
tough
didn't
not
care.
to.
It depends on where you're at. I would
But
say
they could use that against you later, though.
Yeah, true. I mean, I never
that's true.
did that at work, functions
Like,
at work.
The
Right,
premises.
in front of
It was just at the holiday party.
like
and-
after the holiday party. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, I usually was a mess after I left, and I'm pretty good at containing myself, but I do not condone my behavior. I do not say to the young girls out
It's
there.
better
Yeah,
to
I was gonna
not.
say maybe we
to
should
do
cut some of
this.
this out.
Well, I was just like, cause yeah, for me,
No, Ray, you're smart. It's better to be conservative about it.
Yeah. I mean, once I got promoted, I stopped drinking at work entirely.
Yeah.
Like
hear
once
ya.
I became an associate producer,
then
I
it's
stopped drinking.
I mean, and I've
Fun.
even heard stories about people losing their jobs by being drunk and inappropriate at a happy hour, like off
Yeah.
hours. So
Really?
you got to be careful. Yeah, like it was a
And women
it's a
are
story
judged.
for
Women are judged way more than men are.
Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah.
you gotta.
I think there's like a line where you're drunk and you're having fun and you're not doing anything inappropriate
Yeah.
versus if you're drunk and you're acting
It's a
out.
thin line.
Yeah.
It's a thin
There's a
line.
very
And
thin
you have to
line,
be- you have
and
to be cognizant and still aware when you're having to interact with your
and like watch what you're
management.
saying.
Like,
Like
I mean,
watch what you're saying.
I insulted the boss once when I was too drunk, and I really regret that. So, yeah, definitely
Yeah.
don't drink. Don't drink too much. Like I have a 2-drink maximum.
That's a good.
Stop
I
at 2
should've-
drinks.
I should have done that.
I
But
mean,
I was a child. I was simply a child.
yeah, you were learning. You were really just learning your
I was,
limits
like,
and learning.
23 with an open bar. Come on.
Oh man,
Come on. And it was good alcohol too.
straight out of college, going from natty
out of
light
college.
to something nicer. Yeah. Well, and okay, so I have like a drunken story like that from my
This is
first
gonna
job.
turn into drunk.
No, but I'm just gonna say, like, we were all like kind of the youngest people in the office. There were like 5 of us, and I got really drunk that night, and it was.
Which I've never seen.
You never seen it? We have to have a night where we all
Yeah.
get real
We're all
sloppy.
vac-
We all black out.
All
record it.
vaccinated.
Yeah.
Yeah, when we're vaccinated, we can just go. I don't know.
Well, just do it in one of your backyards.
When I was like a teenager, and I would get together with my girlfriends, and we would just like walk around at night drinking, or it was just like
You were drinking as a teenager?
not drinking. I shouldn't say that. Actually, I don't even think I was drinking, but we would just like
Drinking
out-
apple juice.
Yeah, probably or whatever.
I feel like
Are you
we
just
kinda
having
did that
fun?
just driving
we were just,
around.
we were just like giddy, like yeah, like just having fun walking around, like
How-
in the cool air. I don't know.
How old was everybody when they had their first drink?
18.
16.
17.
Seriously? 21.
Wow.
Responsible.
Sad.
What was your first drink?
Really
Mine
sad.
was a White Russian. It was like getting a freaking Kahlua out of the dad's
That
liquor
sounds
cabinet.
Sweet.
It was like milk and alcohol. I was
Mine
just-
was-
Mine was like-
I love Kahlua.
I mean, I
too.
think I would like it now.
UV blue. Like UV blue.
Ooh.
Or like some jungle juice from like a frat house.
Oh.
Well, mine technically my first sip was Manischewitz wine.
Of course. A Passover.
Okay,
And I was
yeah.
probably like 8 years old.
I've heard it's
because-
too sweet.
Oh, it's disgusting. And so like my mom was always like, just try a little, because my mom always wanted us to like not want to.
I want to try Manischewitz.
Was. So we tried it. Yeah, I tried Manischewitz when I was a kid, but
Yeah.
my first other like official like buzzed or whatever was when I was in Israel when I was I think 16. And
Camp?
it was through like some Jewish camp thing. But yeah, I tried it there because I think the legal age was 16 there.
It's 16?
Mm-hmm.
America's
Wow.
kind of like really restrictive on
We're
alcohol
very
and stuff.
puritanical. Well,
Yeah.
I hate that girls can go into porn at 18, but they have to wait till 21 to drink.
Oh my God! Did you? This is a total like
That's
sidebar.
messed up.
How
Did you see
crazy is
that?
that?
We're gonna
The
have to
Catch
cut all
Me
this out.
Outside
Yeah.
girl.
Yeah. Oh my
She just
God.
turned 18 like literally 5 days ago, and she already has like an OnlyFans account, and like
What
people
are you
were like,
Who?
the
Yes.
girl. Do
I
you
know who
remember
you're
the
talking
girl
about,
from-
Savanna.
She was the girl who was on Dr. Phil, like when she was 12 or 13.
You guys
and
need
she
to
was
see
like,
it.
Catch
Wait,
Me
can
Outside.
we watch this?
Yes.
We'll send you
Okay, we
I'll
need
send
to-
you a
send a link.
But she's always had like a problematic. She was a problematic
with
child
authority.
with authority.
Yes.
And she used her like Dr. Phil like 15 minutes of fame to start like a rap career. And I'm pretty sure you've heard her music on the radio at this point. But basically, I guess people have been like begging her to make an OnlyFans for a long time. So like literally
For
5
porn.
days, which is porn. And basically 5 days ago, she announced that it was her birthday, and like I think yesterday or something, she announced that she's making an OnlyFans
Wait,
account.
how do you know this, Savanna?
Because I am very active on social media, and I was very upset about
Wait, what was her catch
Catch
line?
Me Outside. How about that?
How about that? It's like, how about that?
How
Yeah.
about that?
How about
You-
that?
She's like literally 18 in 5 days making porn
That's why.
because
Well,
so-
people have been begging her
I
for years to
I
make
feel like they
That's
should
really-
raise the age to 21.
Yeah.
or at
We'll
least
bring it
20.
down to, well, yeah,
21,
probably not
I
a
mean,
good idea to
If
bring
you
it down.
if you can't drink till you're 21,
You can't
And-
smoke either.
yeah. So how can you make a
Smoking got
decision
moved to
about being in
21?
porn
Oh.
at 18?
Yikes.
Well, you can
Uh,
join the military at 18 and sign your life away as well. But that's
But
It should
it
be
doesn't- I agree.
21.
Well,
That
then
should
they
be also
make it all the
21.
same age.
yeah. It's
Um,
What makes you more mature at 18 to go into the army or be in porn versus like waiting till you're 20? I don't know.
if you
I
ca-
had-
yeah.
I had a Long Island iced tea when I was 21,
Oh,
and that's the
That was-
worst drink ever. It was like
Ugh.
my
it's
21st
very
birthday.
sweet.
Well,
Oh my God.
it's like 4 kinds of alcohol,
Like
and
all
I
the
like
kinds of
weighed
alcohol.
like nothing, and like
Oh, and this was your first drink.
it was my first drink ever. I threw up everywhere.
Oh my God.
I'm getting nauseated just thinking about a Long Island iced tea. I've never had
Oh.
one, but I'm scared of them.
Don't have one ever. It is disgusting. I remember the bartender was this lady at the Three of Clubs, that bar that was in Swingers, and she's like, "I'm gonna fuck you up," and she did.
Oh my God. What a 21st birthday.
I threw up in this poor guy's car. I didn't even know who.
Oh
Like,
Oh my God.
He was like it was my boyfriend's friend's car, and yeah, and I was 21. I still had a curfew. This is so sad. I still had
Still
to
living-
go.
You were living at home?
I was living at home. I still had to go home after all that, and
Oh,
Oh no.
Wow.
yeah. I've been there, Norn. Been there.
it was really pathetic.
I think I actually, after that Blur party, I had to go home to my mom's house and go to bed.
Oh
That was
my
so-
God.
I was still living at home. Norn, you mentioned when we were talking earlier that about us wanting to talk to our coworkers about problems at work. You kind of mentioned that you would complain to like us, like the Lipp peeps.
Yeah.
Do you talk to anybody about your problems at work?
Oh yeah, I do. I talked to that person I told you guys about, and if I really don't want anybody to hear it, I'll actually text him. So, so it's not on. So it's not on Zoom.
Yeah,
or it's not
I do that too.
Yeah.
on Teams. And then there are other people. There are a few other. I love producers. I always make friends. Like when I was at Blur, I made friends with all the producers because I feel like I'm a producer myself as well.
Yeah, you are.
And so I've always naturally made friends with producers. So there have been a few producers I've also really confided in, especially this one woman who was the person who kind of brought me, kind of did all my paperwork. She was this kind of coordinator. And she's a lovely person. And she'd been at this company for a long time, so she knew all the inner workings. And she was somebody who just, I don't know, I've told her a lot a lot of garbage, a lot of stuff, and she won't tell anybody.
Yeah, she's your safe space.
Yeah, so she's.
Did you form that relationship before? Were you saying, or did you?
It was. You're right. It was before.
I feel like
It's
Go
it has to be. Oh no, it has to be before. I can't imagine having that relationship with somebody I met on Zoom.
I agree.
But it's weird because I feel like I have relationships like that, and I don't even have Zoom relationships. Like, I don't even know what their faces look like, but I feel like I have some of that with my
that's
job.
good.
But
I feel like you're really good on the phone, Ray, and like you're really open, and people feel comfortable telling you things.
Exactly.
Oh, so it might be me a little
And you're
bit
not
or something. But
you're not judgmental. I think that's the number one thing.
and maybe that's like part of
People can feel
inviting
comfortable.
people into being your safety net.
Yeah.
Because I'm just thinking, like, none of the people I'm working with, I mean, a couple of people I'm working with, we worked in person together, a year ago on Loki, but those aren't even the people I'm closest to. The people I'm closest to are the ones that I talk to the most, and I have never really seen or Zoomed with. But I think it might be just in part also like the ones that I need to talk to the most, we end up getting the closest. Yeah.
I also wonder if it's because you're on the phone that people are more comfortable being honest versus like on a Zoom because you're not making like direct eye contact with someone.
That's what Terry Gross, who does Fresh Air interviews, she's like said notably, she always records in Philadelphia and never is face to face with the person she's interviewing because you can get so much more intimate details when you're not actually looking at each other, when it is just like voice.
That's funny.
I would think the
That makes sense.
opposite, but it makes sense.
I actually, because I've been telling you guys, I've been trying to get a therapist, and I finally found somebody to like help me out in the meantime. And they're like, "Do you prefer Zoom or a phone call?" And I thought about it. I'm like, I want the phone call because I feel so much more comfortable just blathering on to someone that I don't see their face.
Yeah.
And I can't I don't know. It just feels like I'm talking to like a void rather than like a human being that could like get my. I don't know. Maybe
I prefer the Zoom.
I prefer the Zoom too.
I prefer the Zoom.
I'm the same as Norn. Like I don't like get more.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't like sharing like personal information. I know it seems like I do, but like there's like stuff inside that I don't, but
I would say, and because like on Zoom you're like presenting yourself, but on the phone no one's looking at you. You don't have,
and you could just walk around and do laps. And
that's true too. Yeah, there's a little more freedom.
You're comfortable, and you don't feel like you're having to present yourself a certain way. It's just
Then I can see my therapist's facial cues, though. That's
I'm just saying the different
cues.
Yeah.
But like it's just none of. I mean, the only people who Zoom pretty much is like the illustrators with the art directors, like for the most part, or when they put me on Zoom when they're doing like an art department meeting. And other than that, it's like no one wants to be on Zoom or Slack or any of that, or FaceTime or anything.
Yeah, you've got the art department folks. They don't like the technology.
They don't like, and they don't like to be on camera. They don't like to perform. They would rather send a quick email or. But it's also like the speed of information. So sometimes calling is fastest. But
you're right. Zoom just feels like a performance act. Like at least for me, every time I'm new, like at work or since I'm new, I feel like I'm like getting like a cloak and like putting on this persona of like this really like outgoing like person that's like putting on a show.
I can imagine that would be like I'm trying to imagine that because I don't feel that way, but I can totally see how that like feels like someone is looking directly at you.
Well, and when you feel like you're introducing yourself for the first time, because I hate it. I'm the only person on the Zoom when we're having these art department meetings, and everyone else is just sitting around a table. And I'm like,
see like a giant ray.
I asked her, like, am I at the head of the table? Can you please move me? And they're like, don't worry, like you're small on the screen. It's not that noticeable.
What's it called? Our Myers-Briggs. We're all like, I'm learning everyone's seeing the matches between each of us.
That's so funny. But
I need to redo the Myers-Briggs test.
I think we did it, Norn, and we were similar on some stuff, if I remember.
I think you guys were too. I think I'm an ESFJ, I think. And I think you guys were all like I something.
Yeah, I'm an INTJ.
I don't
P
remember.
or
Are we
J?
complete opposites?
Well,
I
they-
think so.
That's all we're talking about today is soft skills, like, which I love. It's like all about
Yeah,
Yeah.
I guess how we all made
social
friends and
skills and yeah.
How you network. I feel like
Yeah.
a lot of what I do, and maybe it's less of socialization, but during this COVID time, I've been focusing more on networking. I'm like, well,
Yeah.
I'm not really going to form a really close friendship with this person, but I look up to this person. I want to learn more about this person. I want to start to
Oh.
build. I've really started to build like a network of people and confidants, and kind of like pushing and seeing, okay, this person's really good to talk about this stuff, or this person's really good to talk about this stuff. So I've started to create like a network, and even though it's not like I'm hanging out with my friends, at least I feel like I'm getting some social interaction, just talking to people. And so it's actually like filled up my bucket of
Yeah.
happiness. I feel like the last couple of months, that's what I've been doing. It's more exhausting, to be honest, like because I'm always talking to
On.
people and on, like you guys were talking about, but it's actually made me feel happier. Even though I'm tired, I'm happier.
Yeah.
I was just thinking what Becca was saying about, her growing network. Savanna, have you thought about reaching out to anyone to be your mentor?
That's funny because
Tiffany.
I was given a mentor.
A new mentor.
I was given a mentor at work.
How does that work?
So they were like so my company is very good about like social events and like all this stuff. But as someone who doesn't like to go to those things because it just feels like fake and cheesy, like I just don't do it. But I've made some friends that have invited me to some of these events, so I will be going now.
But the mentorship thing.
Yeah, so the mentorship, when I started, they assigned me a mentor. So I had a mentor, but then said mentor got too busy at his work, so I got ditched.
Oh my god!
Can you ask someone else, or can you ask
Yeah.
the organizer of it
So-
to see if there's other people?
Yeah, so I've actually, my current production manager on my show, he reminds me of one of my last bosses, and I really like him a lot. So I meet with him every other week. And then we have an associate production manager that I meet also with every other week. So I am getting some mentorship stuff. But the tough part about my job right now is that it's not really started. Like I was hired too early, so I've just been kind of doing like PA work right now.
And you don't have questions or really things to talk about.
Yeah, there's nothing really to talk about.
Can you like set up like lunch phone calls with like friends, like other friends outside of work, like even ones you could, I don't know, just say, hey,
Yeah, I mean, I think that's, yeah. I mean, I talk to my friends, like I call people during the day that are bored. My friends now know they can call me whenever they're bored or upset about something at work.
Yeah.
Because don't have any meetings. So that's when my mom calls me and she'll go on a rant for an hour and I'm just like, okay, Mom.
It can feel isolating a lot of times. Like,
yeah, I think that's what I've been struggling with. But I think this week particularly has been like a good social week for me because I was getting really low about all of it. And also Mariel and I talk for like 40 minutes every morning. We go for a walk together.
I love that.
So we do like
Sweet.
literally like 10 minutes after I wake up, I'm outside on the street walking around and Mariel's on the phone with me. I'll be sad because she's not going to call me on Monday or Tuesday, but I will survive. But I think for me, I'm just craving some of that like connection at work that I had at my previous job because it was so, like Norn mentioned, it was so social. And so that was just like what it was. That was like the perk.
Yeah,
it was such an unusual. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, you have to remember not to blame yourself, though, because, I mean, I know that's like a natural instinct is to blame yourself for not being able to make friends or, like, meet people.
Yeah.
But remember, it's the circumstance. Like, I have other people that have, been going through the same thing, and I keep telling them it's the circumstance. It has nothing to do with you. It has nothing to do with what you're doing. It's the circumstance.
Yeah, and that's interesting because there's a few new people who have started around the same time I have. Those are my people, and we've all gotten to. It's two people. We've all gotten to the point.
Still people.
Yeah, it's more than one.
Yeah. We've all gotten to the point where we're just like, we don't really like have any. We have no problem with telling each other like this is shitty, and like I don't really feel like I can connect with people who've been there longer. But at least like I know that with us we're fine, and we can talk about pretty much anything, and we're cool with it. and like we'll talk anything from like politics to like movies or work. Like it's
That's
just
awesome.
that I have 2 people like that now, which is just weird because before, you know, I had so many more opportunities for that kind of friendship.
I have got to say though, where we all met in my, 10 or whatever years of working, I had never been in an environment like that, like in that social, like where they really encourage that kind of
to work hard, play harder, for sure.
Yeah, and like honestly, like at all the other jobs, I'd never really been in something like that. So also remember, it was a very
unique,
unusual.
It wasn't like it wasn't a company sponsored social culture.
No,
it was very much the vibe of the people there.
Everyone was just always chatting and happy and hanging out, and you felt like, oh, I want to be a part of this. Like there's something exciting about this. There's more life to it.
Yeah. And they always had, sorry, go ahead, Norn.
Oh, to me, this culture is always set by the people up top. And that's just the personality of the owners.
And I also think it's the perk of working somewhere small. Yeah. Whereas if you go somewhere big, you kind of lose that ability.
That's why, I mean, I know you were saying, Savanna, there's like activities and different groups to get involved in at work. And that's actually been one of my like saving graces or like saviors in this whole process is I've been heading up a woman in technology organization. And that's just been giving me purpose. Like, even though I have my day-to-day crazy work stuff and all this stuff going on, I still have this like little thing on the side, aside from this podcast, of course, this other little thing on the side that I can always just like pivot to and kind of focus on the things that make me happy, which is trying to get more women into tech and in lifting those voices up. And so just even if you don't have to head one up, like you don't have to lead one, but just going to a few things once in a while, like feels like you have purpose or the community.
That makes me think of like, when I was in high school, I was always upset because I was never invited anywhere, I felt like. And so what I do is I invite people like
that's what I'm trying to do. Yeah.
So like you start your own thing and then people want to come.
I used to do that as well in high school. Like I would like anybody who was like kind of sitting alone or like sad, I don't want to say sad looking, but just like those kind of people who are just isolated, I would always take them, and I think like into my friend group. But I feel like as I've gotten older, like I haven't really needed to do that much because all the situations I've been have not had, like they've become naturally like friendships formed, or you get those connections. It's not like you have to work for a friendship. I think that's, at least for me, what the hard part about like growing older and like getting out of college was like keeping and maintaining your friendships out of the situation of where you met people.
Yeah,
like really it's so easy.
It's all about convenience, I think.
Yeah, and it's even harder now because you don't have like, you can't just like, hey, I'm meeting at the bar, whoever wants to come.
I mean, think about it, like we weren't working together for a while, and to be honest, we didn't really talk that much. But I mean, the fact that we're doing this podcast now makes it feel like it has a reason to bring us together. And I feel like I've become so much closer with all of you the last couple of months just because we're been so open and expressive. But when you don't see each other, it's harder to keep that alive.
Becca, I feel, like we met a couple of times in person before all of this, and I just got goosebumps on my arms when you were talking about, actually when you were talking about all the stuff that you do, when I was like, oh my God, Becca is the same high school girl who was the mascot, the president, all the, I was just like, I feel like I know you so well.
Yeah, now
it's from this, like
I've painted that picture.
Yeah.
I agree. It's the same thing. I feel the same thing with all of you too. And it's like, I mean, I knew you all before and, some more than others, like closer, but I think it's been really awesome just to find out, new things and just find out what makes you tick. Like, it's interesting to me.
Yeah.
I love it. It's like, that's what's hard about having a safety net at work is you don't have, like, the only commonality you really have is the job. So when you need to find your people, you have to work a
Sure.
little harder.
Yep. That's true.
It's like you said, adult friendships are a lot harder. Like a lot of my friends when we were out of college and when they were out of grad school, they were like, how do you meet people? How do you
It's very
make friends
difficult.
as adults?
Yeah,
So-
and I'm still kind of struggling to do that, at least.
Well, you have your Lipp friends, and I
We
feel
have
like
friends.
these are the things that, like,
I know, thank
like
God
these,
for this.
Yeah.
For
But,
me
like,
at
I-
least.
Krystal and I always say, though, like, adult friends are so great because you get to start at this point, in your life, and
She just knocked over a light.
I just knocked
The
my
ring
light
light.
out somehow. There we go.
Yeah.
But yeah, like the odds of finding each other is so hard. So you do have to put in that extra effort and that time and kind of not be afraid of rejection.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I hate ending that in a question mark, but you know.
I will say, I was so awkward on Monday when I was at this mixer. There was this girl that I liked, and I was like, I literally screamed at her, "Do you want to get lunch?" I was so nervous.
Oh
I
my
felt like I was
God.
asking someone
But
out on a
keep-
date, but like
keep
you have to
practicing
like
it. Keep
you have to like
practicing it.
date your friends.
Yeah,
Like, you have to go
exactly.
on little dates to meet friends, and it's just like something that's so weird. And
You have to be. It has to be purposeful. You know?
yeah, and I was like, luckily this person and I, like, she's cool, so we're fine. But I was like, if I just screamed at like some random person that was like wasn't on the same level as me, I'm pretty sure I would have terrified.
But you find those people you can shout at. There's
Yeah, and
always
it's-
someone.
They're so, and I'm just a very loud person, so it's not me like screaming. I'm just like, "Do you want to go eat lunch with me?" I'm like a little child, like
Oh
really
my
excited.
Oh, that's so cute.
But I think. Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, but lunches are a great way to start friendships and start breaking the ice at work.
Yeah, and I think just keeping up the communication as well, because like especially in the virtual world, you can make a friend and they just disappear, and then like if you don't work with them directly, like you don't remember they
You
exist.
have to keep. I actually reach out to people. It's weird, but if I see them on Zoom, and even if I don't talk to them on the Zoom, like if it's a big meeting of 20 people, but I'm like, oh, that's a person I haven't seen like in a year or whatever. I actually message them on the side, be like, hey, it's so good to see you.
Yeah.
I've been
It's
starting to do that
weird.
too.
But like I've been like trying to create, because that's what happens when you're in a big room of people. Like you kind of have like multiple touch points or interactions with people, so you have to still do that, but it takes work.
Yeah, it takes that little extra step.
Yeah.
But that's what gets the network, the friends, the
Mhm.
safety net.
The safety net,
The
the
safety net.
interweb of protection. So I want to touch on something that is. No, I don't. I changed my mind. That's a whole nother topic. But I think we should end this on a little nugget of wisdom about how you can make sure that you're protecting yourself and you have your group of people at work. And any tips for all the young women who are starting out, who might be graduating college soon and are getting their first job and will unfortunately probably not be working in person, and what they can do to get that group of friends, or even keep their college friends for the meantime until they can, or keep their college friends. Who knows? I'm staring at Ray.
Oh,
Ba-da-ba-da-ba.
well, I was
I don't
thinking, like, as a young woman, my first few jobs, like, at the lunch table, I remember, like, being really nervous and shy and, not knowing if I should talk or be quiet. And I ended up just kind of being quiet and listening and kind of getting to know the people around me. And I kind of feel like that's just something for, like, younger people where sometimes you feel like when you're the new person, you have to be big and splashy and make everyone remember you, or you feel like you need to impress them and be smart, be the smartest one in the room or whatever. But it's like, go with your comfort, in those first few weeks, you don't have to worry about the first impression. And I guess, the same thing we've all been saying is it takes the extra effort in the virtual world to maintain and create friendships. So be willing to put yourself out there a little more. Becca?
What was the question?
I think it's just like a little nugget of like a tool or some tool to help with keeping or maintaining friendship.
Oh, and I guess my other thing is pick up the phone. Here, that's my one tip. Pick up the phone.
Pick up the phone.
Was my in this crazy virtual space. I would say, being a little bit vulnerable and putting yourself out there. It's not easy and it's a little scary sometimes to, jump off the ledge, but the more transparent you are with coworkers, the more they will be with you. And then it fosters better communication. It fosters better collaboration. And, everyone has their limits, but at least people know who you are and you're being real, you're being real and true and authentic. And so, I would say if Zoom is a little scary and terrifying, Slack someone. You can still have a full conversation or message someone. You can still have a full conversation. Use the technology to your, advantage. Pushing forward the technology there.
Yeah, don't let the technology hold you back.
Yeah.
There's a more way to talk.
Yeah.
I have a tidbit.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was doing a little bit of work. I'm posting something. So I remember, because I was always awkward socially, and I remember reading a book about how to be popular, and I think or how to make friends or something, and I think one of the things they said was to ask questions. And so I've been doing that like the rest of my life, and also I'm just really nosy about people. Like, I want to know what people are about, and people love talking about themselves.
Exactly.
This is so true.
Same.
They love it. So if you ask them questions, then that helps. And if you don't know what to say, just ask a question.
Because people can always talk about themselves. That's like, there's always an answer they can give when it's about themselves. That's something that they know better than anything else.
Yeah. Norn, did you have like a list of like go-to questions that you would ask people, or do you just there was something you wanted to know and you just asked?
I feel like I used to when I was younger, because I used to write things down.
You have like little flashcards.
Yeah, it's so sad. I mean,
that's so cute. Like that's something like if you had met baby Norn, like, would you have given her the flashcards at like in elementary school? And hey, I know you're trouble. Like, I know you're struggling, but here, this is something that can help you, because they don't teach you how to communicate. They just put you in a classroom and like, here, talk. And like the people who are popular are just the ones who are more like socially confident.
They have more practice.
You know what's funny? I remember one time, our guy friend, me and one of my friends, who's like me and my girlfriend, were talking to a guy friend who recently got dumped or broken up, and I was like, "Oh my God, how are you feeling?" Like asking all these questions, and my friend was like, "How do you know how to ask these questions?"
Yeah, because I wouldn't ask. I would literally just not say anything, and like if they want to talk about it, they'll talk about it.
Oh, okay. And see, I think I'm more like Norn. I'm more likely to just kind of start empathizing.
Yeah, it's like, oh my gosh, how can I make you feel better? Like, it's like I feel like I need to do something.
And mine's like, if you need help, you'll ask me, but I'll just
wait until you call me.
Because I'm like, I don't know if you want to talk about it. Like,
again,
some people
the Myers-Briggs. Again,
oh my God, so true.
One of my neighbors talked to me today.
Hey!
I'm so excited. So it was this really older lady. It's always older people. She looked like
Santa Monica
grandma, and she asked. Max and I were eating Thai food out front, and she's like, "What are you guys eating?" Thai food. And she had an accent, so I asked her where she was from. She's like, "I'm from Russia, with love."
Oh, that's so cute.
So cute. Yeah, you just have to like. I've been trying to do.
I didn't even do anything. I didn't make eye contact.
I feel like old people like have lost the amount of fucks that younger people have. To like not want to just talk to everybody.
They're
like
always the ones that talk to me when they walk by and I'm sitting outside the doors.
They're like, hi, how are you? I want to know like how she came to America and what her life was like in Russia.
And the next time you see her, you can be like, hey, you want to take a seat and have a chat?
Yeah.
I can give you wisdom.
I
Think about
do
it.
know.
Her life is probably similar to ours while we're being remote working, where she's probably home with not a lot of people around and craving conversation and connection. And if you think about it, like all of us working are craving this kind of connection. That's one thing to remember with making friendships.
It's so sweet. Like, I always see her walking, and she's always with her son. I think.
Aw.
Like another man. So I'm like, that's gonna be me and Max one day.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
That's
So
cute.
sweet.
That's really cute.
Well, my tidbit, and Becca kind of touched on this, is I always feel like being direct is like the easiest way to get people to connect with you. Like, you can say what you mean and not say it in an inappropriate for work manner, or just be honest about the situation in an appropriate manner. And I think that, like, it's not instantly, but that very quickly opens up the door to, like, making connections with people, because they know that you're going to be direct with them. And it also takes it a step further of, like, well, now they feel comfortable being honest and open with you, or if they're having problems, and you can help them with those issues and stuff. If you can. Or just be an ear.
Yeah, I totally think the listening and asking questions, very powerful.
Yeah. So I think that was a great episode, you guys. I think we all needed a little friendship love this week.
Yes.
Virtual hug.
A virtual hug to all of our lip listeners.
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 And I hope you guys all have a good week at work. And
good luck finding your safety net.
And maybe make a new friend. Maybe make a new friend at work this week, or try.
And tell us about it.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Cool. Well, it was great talking to you guys. Lips out.
Bye.
Lips out.
Bye.
For more information, follow us on Instagram at Ladies in Prod Podcast, or you can email us at ladiesandprodpodcast@gmail.com.